episode 18 of the Velocity Radio podcast. So you've got my host here today, which is Ben. I'm Ben, for you guys that are listening. And I'm here with our guest, Jacob Butterfield, for the second time. So how are you doing, Jacob?
Welcome, Ben. I'm being welcomed, aren't
I?
I'm all right, mate. Thank you. Are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Thanks a lot for coming again and getting on this podcast. If you guys are unaware of Jacob, by all means, we've done an episode previously with Jacob, so you can go back in that one and kind of learn about Jacob and what he's done and so on and what his feats are. However, for the sake of us saving time and obviously going all over it again, we're just going to get into conversation, aren't we, pal?
Yeah.
So, Jacob, from last time that we spoke to you, you were training to do an Ironman, weren't you?
Yeah.
Or half Ironman.
Half Ironman.
Half Ironman.
Yeah.
Triathlon.
Yeah.
Are they the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just different distances.
Right. Yeah. Cool. So, which one was it that you did?
Well, there's something about this, right? Because
right.
I said for at least 13, 14 weeks of me preparing for it that I was doing a half Ironman.
Yeah.
But it wasn't actually an Ironman established event.
Oh,
but
right.
It was a very similar distance. So
yeah.
A full Ironman is 140.6 miles, I think.
Right.
Yeah, and then
it's giving me a nosebleed even thinking of that.
Yeah, and then the obviously half is 70.3. The one that I did was this organised by a company called Always Aim High.
Right.
But the distance was 72.4. So
yeah.
Not much difference, just a different
yeah.
company that organised it. Because obviously Ironman is actually an establishment.
So yeah, is Ironman like a different? If you think of it as a federation, that
it's like federations for bodybuilding.
Yeah. That'd be a different one.
Yeah.
Cool, but I mean, either way, man, that's some going, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we'll get into that. How did you find the event? How like the whole day from start to finish? Well, maybe even like before. I mean, were you nervous? Were you nervous during it? And
no, do you know what? I wasn't nervous. The day itself was better than I expected.
Really?
Yeah.
Well organised.
Just the atmosphere.
Cool.
I found that from when I competed in bodybuilding in the past.
Yeah.
The whole, I don't know how to explain it. Just the hype around it just makes you feel involved, and you know what I mean. The adrenaline that you get from taking part in something of such a significant feat like it is among all the other people. Yeah. Just feels good.
How many other competitors were doing it then? Were it quite a large scale event?
There was 138.
Shit, that's quite a lot, all at the start line, all ready to go, raring. So no wonder that there'd be a good atmosphere just from all you guys kind of like in it together type of thing. And were there
stood on the beach at like 9:30 a.m. in the morning, ready to get into the sea with like 137 other people next to me. With Emma stood there with me as well, waiting to see me off. I don't know if I felt some more sorry for myself about what I was going to do, or for Emma there stood watching me whilst it was freezing cold.
Bless her as well. I bet that was some like spectatorship she had to do for an amount of time she'd have had to be there as well.
Yeah. So it took me 6 hours 45.
Awesome.
That's the time that it took me.
Yeah, that's some time to be kind of constantly doing something, isn't it? Yeah. So for guys that are listening then, for a try, what is it? So what?
Swim, bike, run.
Swim, bike, run. So
all after one another. No rest in between.
No rest, just bang, straight blasting it out. Yeah. So with the swim, the first thing that you did, so essentially you're in that wetsuit, and what distance is the swim?
The swim was 1.3 mile.
1.3
Yeah, so to put that into context, relative to a 25 metre pool, I think that's 76 lengths.
Right, yeah. Bloody hell. And this is...
Then obviously you've got the added challenge of being in the sea, which was very welcoming.
I was going to say the tide and the temperature and things like that.
Yeah.
And, have you found that? Did you do a bit of training in, like, say, normal pools, and then you did a bit of training in open water? Is there genuinely a big difference between them?
Yeah, I found it quite surprising, actually.
Right.
I found both of them as challenging as one another, but for different reasons.
Right.
So there were reasons that I thought swimming in the pool was harder than swimming open water, but then again there were also different reasons that I found open water swimming was more difficult than water.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So they each had their own quirks, so to speak.
Yeah. And
I found it open water harder because you have to use more upper body.
Right.
Because you don't necessarily have to use your legs as much, which is actually really important as well when you come to doing the event itself and you're transitioning from the swim then into the bike and the run where you're going to be using your legs.
Yeah.
But the reason that you can do that is because you've got much more buoyancy with having a wetsuit on.
Right.
So you don't need to use your legs as much.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Same thing in pool. I found it harder because I had to use my legs more than I did just my upper body. So it was more of a...
It's a different swimming
full
technique,
body workout kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And with the fact of it being open water, I can imagine it being different from your training to actually doing it, because you didn't have, when you were training, you probably didn't have another 100 and odd swimmers around you at the same time.
That is one thing that I experienced for the first time on the day.
Yeah, that you didn't get any
getting
feet
hit
in your face,
and I'm like,
yeah.
What's going on? Which way am I going?
Yeah. I'm going to say direction as well. It'd be tough in open water, won't it?
Yeah, because I don't know if I mentioned this on... I don't know if I'd already done this on the last podcast that we'd done. But the first experience that I had of swimming in open water was in Bridlington Sea.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that was far from brilliant.
I bet it was.
I had massively different expectations putting my head under the water.
Yeah.
Because like you've just said, when it comes to having a sense of direction, you've literally got none. Because you put your head under the water and you can't see anything.
Yeah, of course you can. You're looking at seabed.
It's just muck. It's just, it's unpleasant.
Crazy. So is it, when you're in that water then, is it basically like, do they put like a big buoyant thing that you have to swim around and then come back, or is it a straight...
Yeah, exactly like that. So you've got buoys laid out and you just keep sighting and looking for where those are, head for those and keep swimming to the next one.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And then when you come out of that water then, so how long does that swim take you usually? Was it 1.3 miles, did you say? So did you know your splits?
Yeah, I did the swim in an hour.
An hour, yeah. Frig, I can't swim for probably 15 minutes, never mind an hour, like, that's some good going.
The guy who finished first finished the swim in 25 minutes.
25
just for some
minutes.
perspective.
Friggin' hell. So he must have been motoring. Yeah. What, Ross Edgley? that's some going. 25 minutes. He must be part fish.
Quick, that, isn't it?
Yeah. That's rapid. So like once you finish out of the water then, and then you get into your transition. So is it wetsuit off, or do you keep it on, or what?
Well,
what do you
this
do?
is the thing, right? I had this vision in my head of this glamorous run off the beach, getting out of the water, whipping my wetsuit off, and if I had my phone and I could show you, my family was there for when I got out of the water.
Right. Yeah.
And they actually videoed me coming out of the water, and it was everything but what I've just explained. Like, I got out of the water and I was like, I didn't know where to put my face or anything. Like, I was exhausted.
Like it creamed you, basically.
I expected that because, funnily enough, like I'm sure we'll get into it, I found the bike and the run actually quite easy.
Right. Yeah.
And I expected the swim being hard because that was the thing that I found the hardest in my preparation for it.
Yeah.
I got out of the water, and then it's a short run to the transition period where your bike is being kept ready for you to jump onto. Whip your wetsuit off. You've already got your biking gear on underneath. Get your shoes on, and then straight out onto the ride.
Yeah, cool, decent. And then is it all set there for you? Is it well organised when you come to do that? Is it? You've got your own peg and you know where you're going. Yeah, decent. So how come you found that then? So is it just because the more fact that running and cycling in your training is more easier to kind of just go off and do, would you say, or is it because...
I think partially down to my own part on the preparation side of things, because I've done a lot of brick sessions, which for anybody listening who doesn't know is where you basically do two training modalities back to back, so like a bike and a run, or a swim and a bike, vice versa.
Yeah.
I'd done a lot of biking and running in my preparation, but I'd not done a lot of swimming and then straight into something else.
Like swimming and cycling much as what it were on the event.
And I imagine, just going from being horizontal, not really using your legs in that fashion for an hour, to then immediately getting up and trying to run was a little bit of shock to my nervous system. Do you know what I mean? I got cramp in my quads, my hamstrings, my calves.
Really?
So,
Yeah.
It was more like a shuffle to the transition area, not a run.
Or is it a bit like a crab and you just end up coming out of water and go sideways to your bike? That'd be brilliant. No, decent. And because I know if not much of a swimmer myself. I only swim when I go on holiday, and even at that, it's like length of this table. It's nothing too big, so I can't imagine being able to like just go off for a full over a mile to do that, and then go into an absolute lengthy cycle after it. Did you scale up your training with your swimming on that one? So what did you start out short distances and then just build that up? Was that what you did essentially in your training?
Well, to start with, I couldn't swim.
Right, yeah.
So that's one thing.
That's one thing, definitely. I think you've cracked that nugget there.
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definite figures I can't remember, but I never actually focused on any specific, I would say, like strength-based sessions with my swimming.
Right, yeah.
Obviously, when it comes to cardiovascular training, you've got aerobic endurance, and you're not putting much intensity into it, and you're looking at going for distance. Then you can look at improving your speed and power, things like that, in a cardiovascular environment.
Yeah.
I never did anything like that with swimming. I did that with my biking and my running.
Yeah.
Because I was in a position where, like most people probably they can already run and they can already cycle. But my main focus upon starting was learning how to swim. Like, it's like going into the gym and, you know, expecting to do a 5x5 on a squat when you've never even experienced a contraction in your quads before, and you need to start on a leg extension. Do you know what I mean?
Scale it all the way back.
Yeah, exactly. What you just said. Scale it all the way back and work back from where you need to be. So it took me about. I say I couldn't swim. I could breaststroke with my head out of the water, but
that's me.
I didn't figure that was going to be something
breaststroke
that
into
was
a doggy
wise,
paddle.
you know, in the sea when everybody else is front crawling.
Yeah. So is that it has to be a front crawl?
Yeah. So it was me practicing front crawl and getting better at that.
Yeah.
And I think that took me about 3-4 months until I felt like I was in a position where I could start to actually have a specific goal for my training.
Yeah. And
like focusing on a specific distance, as opposed to just getting in the pool and having the aim of improving my form.
Yeah.
And then from that point up until the event, it was just scaling up my distance. So I wasn't really focusing on setting a specific time or working at a specific intensity. With my swimming, it was just I was scaling the distance up until the event.
Yeah, just so then when it comes to it, you're comfortable in that environment. You're not just kind of like trying to get rubber dinghy out to try and save you midway through it. Yeah, with your armbands on. Brilliant. So you get into the cycle then. So how long was the cycle again? Excuse me for not remembering. We're at 100 and...
It was 57 point something miles.
Oh, 57. Yeah. Right. Okay. That's still a long distance. Yeah. Where were it done? Where is it where you can do a swim and a bike and a run for all this? What location were it?
It was in Wales.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, cool.
It was good actually. That was probably one of the things what made it. Well, I don't know because I can't compare it to anything else. But I imagine that was one of the things what made it enjoyable. Like scenery on bike were beautiful.
I bet it was.
Regardless of the fact that I was, putting myself through a bit of a demanding physical task. It was it was a good place to do it.
I bet it was. I've found that as well. Do you know, like even little things when I go on holiday or when I'm in different areas, I do enjoy just going out and hitting the pavement for a run. Because you see different things and you don't feel it as much because your mind's elsewhere looking at other things. So I bet it were absolutely beautiful in Wales, especially on that bike anyway. Were it more like country roads that you were going down? I bet they were awesome then. So within the cycling then, what were the most difficult thing within your cycle? What were the gradients completely different to what you've trained within the past with it being in Wales?
No, so this is something that I wasn't expecting actually. It wasn't as hilly as what I thought it would be.
Right.
So I did check before I'd kind of like planned out all my training.
Yeah.
So I looked at the route that I was going to be doing, looked at like the elevation of it overall, but I didn't look within that where the high point, the go on.
Yeah, different like gradients.
The different gradients were. I didn't look that far into it.
Yeah.
So it was like a 57-mile ride, and the elevation over the whole course of it was like 3,000 and something feet, which
I don't know
to many people might not mean much.
Yeah.
But just giving some context, it's not that much really.
Yeah. It's not like doing hill sprints continuously.
But when I got into the event, there were a few there were a few instances where the gradient was like, again, I don't know what percentage it was, but it was high anyway. That's all I needed to know.
Yeah. That's all you.
Yeah, I knew about it when I was doing it anyway.
You just needed to know.
Yeah, when I was traveling at about 2 miles per hour for about 3 or 4 minutes up a hill. Yeah, I knew about it.
That's it. Keep that legs down. Keep those quads pumping. That's what you need to do in that event. Awesome. And this might sound absolutely ridiculous that I'm going to ask you now.
Go on.
But when you're doing something, when you're cycling for that long, are you allowed headphones?
No.
Are you not?
But I'd never trained with headphones. Throughout my whole prep, I didn't use headphones once.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's probably a good thing, because if you know that you're not going to do it during the event, why train with them?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because during the event, then you're not going to be listening to Eminem. You're going to be listening to your own thoughts more.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to relate to this right though, but I think a big reason why I kept doing that. There was there was the odd occasion where I actually caught myself and I thought, why am I not doing this with that music on like that? Surely that'd be much more enjoyable. But I actually liked getting out and being in my own head.
Yeah.
Like just out and just being able to think to myself. Like it's almost like it was me time.
Yes.
Being able to train, out on the road, running or cycling. It's like there's no distractions. You on the road, just run and ride, and then just think. Yeah.
Come together with your own thoughts almost.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I could be thinking about business. I could be thinking about a project that I want to be doing some work for. Brainstorming ideas in my own head.
Yeah. And I think you do find that. I mean, I just finished reading. It was Phil Knight's book, The Shoe Dog. A really good book actually. About Phil Knight's owner of Nike. Created Nike ages ago, and he were like an Olympic level run, not an Olympic level run, sorry, college level runner. In the US for Georgia University, I think. Bloody hell, it's like a reading comprehension. And then and I kind of came to the conclusion that with that, and then when I think of people that I know, that guys that go out and do endurance stuff are actually at one with their own thoughts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I've been caught into the trap of every time that I go into the gym now, if I go to the gym downstairs and do resistance training, I need music. I need to have a certain song playing if I want to do certain things. And within that element, fair enough, it's helping you, it's geeing you up to do that thing, but then pulls away that element of you actually thinking, having time to yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many times do you go off and you just go for a walk outside without your headphones in or without your phone? To most people, probably never. Yeah. So then they're always stimulated by something to kind of think about and take the mind away from actually thinking about themselves and thinking about things that they might need to do and creating plans in their head and stuff. And it's a lot of time that people generally don't have. And I think that's probably something that I want to do more, because when I go out running, I do have my headphones in. And I just all the long distance guys that I've seen don't have them in.
David Goggins.
I
think I remember him saying something about it. Something along the lines of it's cheating if you're going out and you're sticking your headphones on for a long distance.
Yeah, and it is. You're relying on a new stimulus, then, aren't you? You're relying on the music and the motivation from an external thing, rather than actually, right, what's happening in my head, right, and just talking to yourself.
Almost. I like to try and make it fun. I like to try and play games with myself. I give myself challenges. Even when it comes to nutritional things relative to that. Delaying gratification. Play a game with yourself. How long can I beat myself? How long can I not give in to this temptation that I've got? Reward yourself for that, rather than thinking about something that you can't have. Mm-hmm. Try and apply a little bit of reverse psychology and make it into a game. Make it fun.
Challenge yourself almost. I know we talk about that, but that's what it is. But that's such a societal thing now. It's these bloody things that's problem.
Yeah, I agree.
And I know,
I'm guilty of it.
I know I am definitely as well. I mean, I can't, when I come home from work and if I'm making tea, if my wife's listening to this, she'll be laughing at a minute because I barely make tea. But when I am making tea and doing stuff, I need a YouTube video on, or TV playing on in background, or music playing or something, and I can't actually. Now, this is me just taking a step back now and thinking about it. Just put my phone in a drawer and just friggin' make tea.
Yeah.
and chop some friggin' vegetables and carrots and stuff. And I'm very rarely able to do that. I always need stimulating now, which is a bad thing, really.
Yeah.
It can be a good thing at the same time. Depends on what you're listening to and watching.
Yeah, like you say, it depends on what you consume, what you're consuming with it, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. No, but that's a cool thing. That's definitely one thing I want to try and implement into my own. Just being able to be at one with my thoughts if I am doing something more distance-wise.
Yeah.
It's.
I've even thought of, right?
Yeah.
As a way of integrating it to my lifestyle more and making it something that could benefit my work. I'm a stickler for planning. I don't work well without structure. Right. So that's why, in a way, I think like doing things like this helps me, because although it can be time consuming, I try and factor in other things and have each thing work around one another. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just helps me.
Yeah.
And I've even thought of, so let's say I know I've got to go out for a 1 hour run on one day. I've even thought of, like now where I haven't got or at times, because I haven't, we'll get into this in a minute, I've got something that I want to work towards. But let's say I didn't have a specific training goal.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean to say I'm not going to train.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? I'm still going to do the minimum effective dosage to make me feel good. Release some endorphins, maintain muscle tissue. It just might be reduced frequency through a week, 3 to 4 times per week. I've even thought of when those times come to, let's say a run would be 30 minutes, to make it a 50-minute run.
Yeah.
In my head, make it a 50-minute run, and on my plan, but still do the 30 minutes and allow 20 minutes time after that run to write down any of the thoughts that I have when I'm in my own thoughts having the run. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've also been guilty of having loads and loads of ideas go through my head when I'm thinking to myself, and I'm having these like long distance events, and then it's like you finish your run but you've not set aside any time to gather your thoughts on a piece of paper, and then you're straight into the next thing, and then all of a sudden you're waiting for that next run to come around so that you can gather some more thoughts and ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
I totally understand that, because after it, what were the purpose?
I don't know if that sounds daft to anybody, but
it's a good idea. But if you don't apply it and if you don't write it down, you're going to lose it somewhere in that big Filodex that you've got in your head. There's loads of things that come on and take priority when you're moving on to your next thing. So that
and it's not like I can grab
sense.
a piece of pen and paper out of my pocket whilst I'm running.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a funny thing that I heard a lot of kind of like more like musicians and writers. They tend to do things where if they're driving or if they're rounding about and doing, not particularly running, but if they're having ideas or creative thoughts, what they do is just like smash a voice memo into the phone and they kind of talk to themselves. I think it was there was some comedian, I think it were either the guy off of Britain's Got Talent, either him or the guy with bouncy hair. Do you know the names? McIntyre. Maybe McIntyre. Yeah, it looks a bit Chinese, but I don't know if he is. Like black bouncy hair. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know how else to describe him. Okay. And it were either him or the guy of Britain's Got Talent, which is David Walliams, one of them. Yeah. Got done for being on the phone whilst they were driving. Yeah. But they ended up. It might have been Jimmy Carr. I don't know. I'm just going to name every single comedian that I can think of. And they actually got away with it because it was, I don't know what lawyer that they actually got to get him away with it, but what they were doing at the time was that they weren't like scrolling down Instagram or scrolling down Facebook that your usual people are probably caught on the phone doing, or texting somebody. He were actually just talking into his phone, like doing it because he had a thought, an idea of a joke. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then they were just thinking, oh, this is gold, I can't get rid of this, and then all of a sudden blue lights come on and you get pulled over for being on your phone, which we don't recommend. But that's another way of, you see all these creative people having to get the information down whilst they're doing it. I think it was Einstein, actually, that, or were it Newton? Again, this is me not being able to kind of like remember who's who. But one of them anyway, always had good thoughts and ideas when there was dropping asleep. Like when they were, in that like 10-15 minutes when you're starting to fall asleep, but you're not really asleep, but you're almost a bit psychedelic in your head, and you're thinking of stuff, and they always had good ideas there. But the problem was, they went to sleep after. So then when they wake up, they don't remember them. So he actually came up with this contraption And I think it was something hanging off the table, and it were a bell or something.
Right.
That when he did actually drop asleep, he'd actually try and force himself to go to sleep. And when he started dropping asleep, so let's say when he started moving forward, this bell would ring and it'd wake him up. But then he's grabbed those thoughts to be able to get around an idea or a problem that they had. Yeah, and he actually thought of that. Like right, I always have my best thoughts when I do this. So I'm going to come up with this contraption. This is obviously like the pioneers of our day that are thinking of this. And it'll actually wake me up so then I can actually remember that idea and get it down on paper. And look where that got us. I mean, like if it were Tesla who did that, it got us light bulb. If it were Newton, he understood gravity and things. So that shows how important it is for, like you've said, to have that time aside to get those ideas down on paper, because you don't know where it's going to lead you, do you?
No,
exactly,
yeah.
I know we kind of went off on a bit of a tangent there, but after you cycle then, and you went into the run.
Let's go back to.
Let's get back into the try. That's the reason people are listening to this. They want to hear about the training. They want to hear about the good stuff. So when you've done that run, when you've done the bike, the cycle, should I say? How are you feeling after those 50 odd miles? Good, yeah.
Yeah, like I said,
energized.
As I expected it to be. The swimming was tough.
Yeah.
But once I found my momentum. With the ride, it was pretty much just a case of time. I didn't ever feel at any point throughout it like I was having to give a lot of effort and not putting out a lot of effort, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just felt like I could just keep going.
Nice.
But at the same time, I didn't feel like I wasn't giving enough effort. Do
you
know what I mean?
Yeah. You were in that sweet spot.
I was just performing.
Yeah.
What I felt was relative to my capabilities. Yeah. I was pushing myself, but I was never in a position where I felt like I couldn't keep pushing.
I can imagine
that.
I mean? Yeah, because you're at that catch-22 situation where you might want to perform very well on your bike, but yet you still know you've got 13 miles to run after it. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like you don't want to over-push yourself and overreach it too much, because then you're like, well, I've got half a marathon to run after this.
Yeah.
So, but you still felt energized. You felt better than what you did coming out of the run.
Yeah.
So what's the transition like from the bike into the running then? What's the phase? Do you just pack your bike up, put a chain on it, and then get your trainers on?
You have. You can't actually ride your bike right up to the point of where you keep it.
Yeah.
There's like a line where you have to dismount your bike before you actually get to that point, and then you have to run with your bike, pack your bike up, secure it, then you have to obviously take your shoes off, and then you run in your cycling gear. You just have to slip your running shoes on. Yeah, cool. Decent.
My
transitions both took me about 5 minutes, because both times I spent a good few minutes talking to my family. But I wasn't there to be the best.
I
had my own goals for myself, and
that's nice. And at the end of the day as well, I mean, it's your first time doing event-based transitions, isn't it? And it's you're gonna be daunted a little bit by it on the day, and the organisation. Like when you get to the end of it, you're happy because you've completed 50 odd miles on a bike, but then at the same time you're thinking, shit, where do I put my helmet? Where do I put my my bike, and where do I chain it up and things like that?
I see that as a positive though, because I actually didn't stop for any time to talk too much after I finished the swim.
Yeah.
Because I was so exhausted that that wasn't really what was on my mind. What was on my mind was kind of getting myself back in a position where I felt like I could perform, and knowing what I felt I knew would have helped me do that was, getting some nutrition in me, getting hydrated, because obviously I'd just spent an hour swimming without that, and getting on the bike and finding my momentum with that. But when I got back from the bike, actually being able to do that and just feel, not so fatigued, that I could actually take the time out to speak to my partner for a few minutes, and I was like, I'm cool right now, I'm just going to go and do a 30-mile run, do you know what I mean? You're actually, if you think of it that way, well, that's the way that I do look at it, like, it was quite a positive thing, do you know what I mean? Because there were actually some people who, they got off the bike and they were transitioning to the run, and you could tell that the last thing on the mind was, I'm going to stop and talk to my family. It was like, I've got 12, 13 miles to do. Like, I just need to keep going and stay focused. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was a good thing in a way.
It was nice you had that metal. almost like appreciate those times and those moments when people's come to watch and spectate you as well, haven't you? Yeah, that's brilliant. And then you get into your run, you get your trainers on. So what were the run? Were the run pavement based? Were it trial based?
So this is something else that I didn't really prepare much for as well in the terms of the terrain, because it was trail.
Trial.
Yeah, and there was some sand in it as well.
Oh gosh, make it a little bit harder for you.
So that's even harder.
Yeah, that's and more just like a trial. But it was good. Trial around a park or something, were it? Or
it was in a forest.
Oh, a forest.
Yeah.
Oh, again, I bet scenery was lovely though, wasn't it?
It was brilliant. And then there was 2 laps.
Right.
To complete the full distance.
Yeah.
And on the final half a mile, I would say. Yeah. It was along the beach, so
awesome. Yeah,
that was brilliant.
Yeah, and that were your sand then.
Yeah,
that were just like the last half mile that you do, they make it the most difficult that you could potentially do as well, because you're trying to run on sand.
Yeah,
brilliant. And then when you come to that final, when you cross that line, then mate, what's that feeling like? Jubilation.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, just that
bit of relief as well.
Yeah, relief. Just that sense of achievement and fantastic.
Nice. Yeah. You have like friends, family there as well to kind of get you on day and stuff.
Yeah, there's a picture actually of me and Charlie stood on the first, second, and third podium spots. Obviously, I didn't come in that position, but it was good for a picture.
Well, to yourself, you did, didn't you? Because I mean,
like I said, I didn't.
That. You've achieved that goal. That's you.
That weren't my goal to win. It was.
Yeah, I'm sure if your goal was to be an elite triathlete, you won't be carrying muscle that you're probably doing now. Do you know what I mean? You'd probably be.
On that, right? So after it, this is something that I've explained to a lot of people.
Yeah.
That I think is very important to remember, to not set yourself too many expectations, because you can sometimes, I think, set yourself expectations that are so high that it prevents you from actually getting started.
Yes.
And that is the main thing. Like I said, I couldn't even swim to start with.
Mm-hmm.
And I found myself asking questions to myself after I'd finished it that I would have never asked myself before having done the event.
Really? Yeah.
That I would have also never thought of being realistic thoughts.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like I said, my initial goal was just to do it.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about placing in a specific position. It was just about being able to finish it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know if I was going to enjoy it. I mean, I've done 9 bodybuilding competitions in the past. I've never done an endurance-based event.
Yeah, it's completely different, isn't it?
Yeah. But then having finished it and performed well at it, enjoyed it, I thought, going off what you've just said, how I'm not really probably built to be the most efficient triathlete. You know, if you look at one of the pictures I'll show you after this, I'm like a lump of muscle on a bike compared to everybody else.
Yeah. That's not a bad thing in my book.
But I thought to myself, do I want to maybe work towards becoming a professional triathlete? Is that realistic? Am I at the right age where I could manifest that? You know, because in my eyes, all it would be is training more for a longer period of time than what I already have done, reducing some of my muscle mass. Do you know what I mean? Continue reducing, just keep going. Obviously, I've answered that question for myself now because I don't want to. It would mean me sacrificing too many other things that are important to me. But do you know what I mean? I'd have never opened up that opportunity in my own head had I not started with minimal expectations. Of I just need to get in the pool and do 1 length front crawl. Forget about swimming in the sea.
And then start from there.
And build scale it like you said.
I think that makes complete sense, and it bodes well in relation to what you do as a job as well for guys and clients coming in. You might be goal setting, and it's almost trying to say, right, I understand that you want to look like this person on the front of a magazine, but let's scale it back and try and think of realistic things to start with. We had a podcast episode with a woman called TJ Jones, and when she first ever started a journey, she went, I forget what size that she was, let's say size 24, quite large. And her goal, like when she first started, it wasn't so much that she wanted to be a certain dress size or she wanted to be a certain weight or something. It was literally just to try and get fit, you know, just like try and build fitness up first, and then from there, from having that kind of like base structure foundation, you can then set more realistic, like targets. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even if some of them are quite higher reaching, you've put yourself in a position, like you've said, to be able to even unlock that thought in your mind.
Exactly that. Unlock that thought, and it's down to experiences that you have that it's gonna.
Cool.
Yeah, I think.
So what I think big question that everybody's wanting to ask. What did you eat after? What
I had 2 Domino's pizzas.
2 large.
And a full tub of ice cream.
Nice one. Yeah. Decent. That's a good solid effort.
I don't know if that's like going in.
Yeah.
To some people it might be, to some people it might not, but it satisfied me anyway.
Oh, I bet it bloody did as well. I bet it tasted twice as nice as well. Did you have 2 pizzas because you couldn't decide which one that you wanted? Were that the main
Well,
thought?
here's the thing, right? I actually had 2 half and half, so
nice.
I had 4 flavours.
Yeah. Okay,
made the most of it. Forward thinking.
It were a party in his taste buds that day, wasn't it? That's what it was. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thing of beauty. You wouldn't have been able to eat it with your 10k challenge. No. Have you seen that video?
I've heard.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah,
I think you should be as well. Yeah. I think he's a bit disappointed in himself as well. We're all disappointed in him. Awesome. So now that you've completed that, then have you almost took a different approach to kind of training in your own mindset? Do you know, from completing it? And like, I know mine, when I did a marathon, it's not to the extent of what you've done, but I almost had a more respect for endurance guys after it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have you felt that you've thought like you've almost got a different respect for what their discipline is?
Yeah, and also the importance of it. Not that I didn't, not that I wasn't aware of it, but I wasn't as acknowledging of it before.
Yeah.
So when I've said this already. When I was bodybuilding in the past, I did cardiovascular activity, but the purpose of it at the time I saw was just to expend energy and promote fat loss. Yeah. It wasn't for the adaptations that you can see in your actual cardiovascular system and how that can benefit your performance and your health in general.
And how you feel as well sometimes as well. You know, when you built up a good cardiovascular fitness, you can feel it more in day-to-day things, I think, and you actually feel more alive, you feel more energized, and it's quite a subjective thing that you can't describe. Do you know what I mean? It's it's quite it's one of those.
And having had this focus and this goal, it made me think differently towards it, because obviously I had to think more performance orientated, and I was setting specific goals with regards to cardiovascular activity, as opposed to I'm just here to burn calories and lose body fat. Also, I think it's important to remember that when you've got the aim of losing body fat, you're eating within a calorie deficit, which isn't as supportive of adaptation, because there's not as much energy that's available. So something that I found was very different was how my body adapted, and I see that being a result of how I was fueling my body, because I was doing all this cardio but I wasn't in a deficit. I was making sure I wasn't, so all that extra food was fueling further performance and adaptation. So, and I felt a big difference in that, like you just said, in the way that I felt.
That's good.
In general,
that's good.
What I mean?
So you must have been fueling it correctly anyway, because like you said, for your body to change, it's a big energy demand for your body to kind of like set the furnace going and kind of build up. Do you feel like your cardiovascular fitness? The one thing I found was I felt like my cardiovascular fitness and performance increases a lot quicker than say what it would do resistance base wise if I were trying to increase strength.
I think so too.
I think you have a really quick adaptation. I'm not going to say you're all of a sudden going to be Mo Farah, but what I'm saying is it has a more linear, quicker progression than, say, for example, picking a weight up and trying to bench press it a couple more times, which again bodes in itself quite motivational as well. Like when you are seeing those adaptations happen, and that's sometimes how you can see it become quite addictive for people when you see your big ultra runners and your big distance guys. So what's next on horizon, mate, do you reckon? Have you got some different plans? I know we talked about off air a little bit. You're looking to maybe do something in New Year. Have you?
So I've been invited to do something that's called Attilo swim run series.
Right. Let's go through that. What's that then?
Same as swim bike run without the bike.
Right. Yeah.
Like a duathlon, I suppose, but traditional duathlon. I think I'm right in saying is a cycle and a run.
Right.
Without the swimming, so it's just the opposite. It's swimming, and running.
Nice.
And it's Attilo is the organisation, just like Ironman is its own organisation. They do a number of different swim-run events across
nice
a number of different countries. The one that I've been invited to is in Italy, so it's the swim-run series of the Isles of Sicily.
Do you know what, mate? That sounds awesome.
Yeah, so
even just to go there and see the sights and make are you going to make like a little bit of a weekend stay of it and stuff?
Yeah. So you swim, run around one island, swim to the next, run around that one, swim to the next, and so on.
You run round an island.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's brilliant.
Sounds brilliant.
It does, doesn't it? That sounds awesome. I don't think it'll be any Domino's pizzas at the end of that one as well. It might be something a little bit finer after it. Yeah.
Surprisingly though, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you would naturally assume that it's longer than what the actual running portion of the event is. You know, like when you say run round an island.
Exactly. You all of a sudden think, bloody hell, I'm going to run around UK.
Days.
Yeah.
But I think the running portion of the event is 12 to 13 miles.
Right. Yeah. So
but
similar.
The swimming is like 5 miles.
5 miles. Gosh, you're gonna have to get that wetsuit on a bit
context, considering how long it took me to do the 1.3 mile, which was an hour.
Yeah.
I need to get better at swimming.
Yeah. In a nutshell. So when is that? When is that?
June.
In June, yeah. So hopefully the temperatures in the water will be a little bit warmer than what they're getting to now, potentially.
See, though, that's the thing, though. I need to get better at swimming than what I already am. Yeah. It's open water swimming. So I best accustom myself to cold temperature at waters.
Getting out there.
Let's get started pretty soon.
I was going to say, and you'll be coming out of that June, January, February time as well. It's going to be a little bit chilly in those that water around that time of year for your training. No, that sounds awesome though.
But that in itself as well, like I've just mentioned about opportunities and like the thoughts that you have and what you think is realistic. Like that opportunity wouldn't have arose if I'd have not kind of like gone through this process, because the person that's invited me is actually a coach himself. I've never met him. I've just met him through social media. I suppose that's some of the benefits to being on your phone. To meet like-minded people.
Exactly. It can be more community and communal feel to it. And do you almost feel like is the audience there with your endurance-based events? Is that a different community compared to say like a bodybuilding community? Would you say?
I don't know if I've had enough exposure to it to have an opinion. And again, the guy that's invited me is what he would say is like a hybrid athlete. He's been in powerlifting competitions himself. He's done bodybuilding stuff. He's done endurance-based events. So he's not really tied to one specific thing. So I suppose he's got very similar interests to myself, and he's not just from that.
Yeah, he must be able to swim quite a bit though. It's 5 miles that he's got on his event. That's crazy. That's decent then. So I think we mentioned as well off air that you've got a photo shoot coming up as well, have you? So you're currently in a bit of a deficit.
Yes, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, straight out.
Nobody likes to have to eat less, but sometimes you do.
Sometimes you do. I mean, and it's for a good cause as well, though. You said that you were going to do it with a couple of your clients as well.
I've got a couple of clients that are doing it with me.
Brilliant.
I suppose it's something to close off the year. I made a post this morning, actually, about how it's important to plan at times.
Yeah.
When you want to do these sorts of things that is conducive to other things that you've got going off in your life. So, like, just after the photo shoot, it'll be Christmas.
Yeah. Nice.
Maybe some people do or don't, but you might think to yourself, tomorrow, do you know what, I could do with losing a little bit of body fat.
Yeah.
Is it the right time for you to be doing that? What have you got coming up in the next 12, 16, 20 weeks?
Can't be doing that if you've got like a big run of weddings that you've got an invite to and things. Do you know what I mean? So it's again, forward thinking, forward planning is a big element of that.
I think so.
So when we look at because I want to get into courses and things. So what you've kind of, and this is totally spinning the conversation now.
Yeah,
so
go for it.
I've noticed that you've kind of taken part in a couple of further development educational things in the past. Now, what if just for me really, what have you done? What have you been?
Qualification wise, actually something written on paper as a recognised entity, I suppose.
Yeah.
I've actually not got that much.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed to say that either.
No, that's fine.
Yourself, the course that I've done with yourself that allowed me to obviously be professional personal trainer.
Yeah,
legally. Then branching off from that, I've done Phil Learney's Advanced Coaching Academy.
Yes.
And qualified to be able to advise as a nutritionist.
Nice. Yep.
And that's it with regards to actually
right.
written qualifications. But the courses that I've done that I feel have helped me become a better coach and have given me applicable skills.
Yeah.
So I've done Mark Cole's as
is it M10?
M10 personal training mentorship, which is a 6-month course, very intensive. It covers aspects of biomechanics and anatomy and application to exercise and individuals. Nutrition element as well. I would say looking at how you can implement theory-based stuff in a real-life scenario.
Make it applicable.
Yep. And then there's also a business element to that as well. So marketing, actually identifying who you are as a trainer, what sort of message you want to put out, your brand. Then I've worked with a number of different. This is not. I don't think this is something that's you could say is a course, but I think it falls under the category of personal development and education. And that's just investing in other credible coaches.
Yes.
To coach me.
And
I've worked with a few.
No, I've heard of that many times. Like,
don't mind mentioning them. So
it's up to you if
Chris
you can mention them.
Daniel Luke, Juggy, who at the moment is seeming to do very, very well with.
Has Juggy got a proper name? I don't know.
Yeah, that's it.
Is that it? Really? Right. When you said it, I was just like, oh, Juggy,
It does sound like a nickname, doesn't it?
Yeah. Is that the?
Yeah,
okay.
That's his name. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think, anybody else? I think that's it.
Yeah.
But all of those for extensive periods.
Yeah. I think that is important.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll mimic you on that one because again, accredited qualifications, they are good. They are something to put down on paper. But away from that, we see a lot of kind of like non-accredited qualifications, but by guys that are recognised within the industry and that you know that it's going to be a good product type of thing.
I would almost, providing that you invest in the right person.
I think
you need to do a lot of research.
Yeah.
I would almost describe it as like an apprenticeship.
Yeah, like mentorship.
Think of it the way that apprenticeships work is you get education.
Yeah.
But you get paid for it as well, but you get practical experience.
Yeah.
Hands on.
Yeah.
That's what a qualification, just a solely educational based course, isn't necessarily going to provide you, depending on which one you undertake.
Yes.
Some do have practical elements to them, which I think is completely brilliant.
Yeah. But I think the one that you mentioned as well, like having almost like a coach and a mentor, is quite a big one. There were a couple of weeks ago, I remember I had a class full in here, and just one question that I like to ask them, and I asked them it, was, right, so all you guys now are more or less on the brink of becoming a personal trainer, but how many of you have had a personal trainer before? And not one of them put their hand up.
Yeah.
And then that boded into the conversation being that, well, how do you know what makes a good personal trainer? And I actually set them off and said, right, I want you to go around, I want you to have a look at maybe investing in somebody, just so then you can kind of see how other people work, how they apply and things like that. Obviously we teach them that in our academy, but to actually feel that firsthand, then I would never have set a training provider up if I didn't work in a training provider before, because I wouldn't know how they work. So exact same principle goes, I would say, like if you want to be a coach, how do you know what makes a good coach? Well, go and invest in one.
Yeah.
And
I
see
think
yourself.
part of that makes up a good coach, because upon going down that route, I wouldn't imagine you're not going to set a specific goal with working with a trainer.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think part of what makes a good trainer is having walked the walk, so to speak.
Yes.
I think you should do it.
You
should.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to think I wouldn't like to think that somebody was telling me to do something.
Yeah.
That was also something that meant I had to change a lot of the habits that I had within my lifestyle that they'd not done themselves.
Yes. Yeah. It's almost like
I would see myself being very naive.
You hold more authority towards that person if they have done that, don't you?
And I think that allows you to be able to empathise with people. And I think that's a really important trait to be able to have to be a good trainer.
Yeah. It is. I remember speaking to Ben Coomer, and he said more or less the same thing. Being having that empathy, and not just being like a drill sergeant and just kind of saying, right, this is what you need to do. Stick to the plan. Can't believe you're not doing it. What's wrong with you? Give your head a shake. Do you know what I mean? That kind of like that kind of drill sergeant way. It might work in a football dressing room to a load of other professional athletes, but it's not particularly going to work for middle-aged Mary wanting to shave a few pounds off for a daughter's wedding. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, there's loads of good guys, credible guys out there as well, that have got their own mentorships, coaching elements to it. And they're good to learn off of. I heard a quote, and I absolutely forget who I heard the quote off of, but it's having one. Actually, I think about Jamie Alderton. Actually, like when you are working towards something, you want to get better at your craft. Almost like try and have somebody above you, whether it be like academically, financially, if that's your goal, and have somebody almost like below you. And I know that sounds awful, but like that's where you were. This is where you're at now, and that's where you would want to be. Having somebody below you, again, that's such an awful way of saying it, but that kind of gives, make sure that your feet are grounded. It makes sure that you understand where you came from, you don't lose those roots, and you can see where you might end up if you don't continue working. Whereas if you have somebody above you, like a mentor, almost like someone who you hold authority to, that you believe in, you can learn from. You have a better target, you have a better end goal, and I think that does. That will help people wanting to get into that.
That's important for making sure that you're in an environment that always challenges you.
Yes.
Because if you haven't got that, then what's challenging you?
That's it. That's creating the environment, essentially. Having those individuals around you.
Something to constantly, not compare yourself to, but something that makes you always want to higher your standards.
Yes, it does. This is an analogy, right? And you'll probably know this. We're doing your endurance events. I signed up to Parkrun, right? So it's only like a 5k that I get up and do. 5k every Saturday morning when I feel like it. But the main thing that I pulled away from Parkrun, rather than actually going out and running, is people don't actually realise how hard they work until they see somebody else working hard. And how I came to that conclusion was I were overtaking people running.
Yeah.
And then you always see that when you start to overtake somebody when you're running, they then try and keep up with you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's the element of you don't understand how hard you work until you see somebody working harder. And the same element comes to me when people overtake me then. I then try and speed up a little bit to try and keep with her, and I'm like, no, you bastard, you're not taking me over. But that's that sole thought right there within a Saturday morning park run. Like you don't realise how hard you work until you see somebody working harder than you, and then it almost motivates you to keep going a little bit more. Yeah, it's great. It's crazy. It's crazy where you pick up these little thoughts from, and that's just from a Saturday morning park run. Brilliant, mate. And then finally, we'll just end it on this one here, and we've kind of covered this point as well. Just what you believe creates a good trainer, then.
So one thing that we just touched on, being able to empathise. Mm-hmm. I think your ability to empathise is putting yourself in environments where you undertake experiences that are going to be similar to the people that you're going to be working with want to undertake themselves.
Yeah.
Getting coached yourself for that.
Yeah.
Constantly putting yourself in challenging environments.
Yeah.
This is actually something that I thought of before I came.
Yeah.
This is probably the one question, because I didn't prepare for any of the questions that I got asked last
time.
Right, yeah. Being value driven.
Value driven.
Yes.
That's what you mean by that.
Not money driven.
Right.
And I think you could. The reason I say that is because at the moment, I think with the whole boom of the fitness industry, it might be very appealing for somebody to want to get into the industry.
Yeah.
For the sake of thinking it's a good career route that's going to have them earn lots of money.
Yeah.
And alongside the fact that I imagine there are a lot of people out there that enjoy training, they think I'm going to be able to go and do something that I love and I'm going to be able to earn a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you might be able to train yourself, but if that's all you can do and you're not invested in the actual person that you're working with, you could still be a shit trainer.
Of course you can. Yeah.
And by like value driven, I mean So like what's really important to me is teaching. Yes. So like when I'm on the gym floor, I'm with that client and I love what I'm doing just for the simple fact that I like teaching and helping people.
Yes.
So you need to identify what's important to you and understand if it's actually something that you're going to be enjoying for the sake of somebody else and not just yourself. Yes. Yeah, because it's an industry where you're serving people.
Yes, yeah.
So if you're watching this and you're thinking about getting into personal training because it's something that you enjoy yourself, rethink it.
Yeah, have a think about what your core values may be first towards it. I think when we had a conversation with Phil Learney on a previous podcast, he hit the nail on the head. This is a service-based industry.
Yeah.
So you need to be willing to almost do this job for free to then be able to have the intrinsic value come out of it.
Yeah.
And then the payment side of it is just kind of the after effects, if you know what I mean. That's just kind of like the waste product that comes out the other end. That's your payment. You need to do it for the right reasons. Yeah. You hear a lot of professional sportsmen saying it, like I'd play this sport for free, and that's probably hence the reason why they're so good at it, because they don't really care about so much the money and fame that comes along with it. It's more deeper than that. And that's why, obviously, they'll be very talented, but one of the reasons as well is why they'd excel in the field. Yeah. Because they're doing something that they'd essentially just wake up on a Saturday morning and do for nothing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, I think that's a good point.
Not to put
that you've
anybody
made
off.
there.
I hope I put in there.
But no.
I think it's an important point.
It is. I mean, and again, the reason why you find a lot of people wanting to get into this industry is because it is something that they enjoy and that they may have a passion about. And try and think about what's the reason why do I have this passion? Why do I enjoy this? Is it because I just enjoy it a little bit better than going and working in my call centre job that I've got? Yeah. Because trust me, probably going out on a Saturday night and having a steak with your missus, you're probably going to enjoy that more, but you don't want to turn that into a job. Do you know what I mean? Because it'd be an expensive job. So
education is obviously an important one.
Yes.
If I could put my finger on what I think are the most important things to learn, it would be anatomy. Mm-hmm. And the application of it. So not just looking at where muscles attach to bones, but how that actually applies to an individual and how they differ between individuals, which would mean that one exercise might be more suitable to another.
Yeah.
Because if I was to have become a personal trainer 6 years ago, when I first started training, I think it was about 9 years ago, when I was 15, I would have been a rubbish personal trainer.
Yeah.
But like that was because of how I trained back then, which I now know should have been very different. But the understanding that I have now, I feel, is very much derived from the understanding of anatomy that I've got.
Yeah. You think of exercises in a different way. You think of them of movements.
You
rather
might do
than
a lat pull down and you feel a great contraction in your back, and then you come and get somebody to do it who's never even stepped foot in the gym before, and they're moving in a way that's just not even going to be stimulating the lats, and they're not feeling it there, but you're not aware of it because you're not understanding of anatomy. You need to know how to break down that problem there and understand what is the root that's going to solve it. And it's not necessarily just get stronger lats. And it's not just telling that person to squeeze the lats. That's one of the worst cues that I can.
What does that generally mean? Like, do you want to grab hold of it and squeeze it?
That I have never said to a client, squeeze that muscle. It's like imagine being born. Coming out of imagine being born and then immediately being told to walk. You'd be like,
well, you've never really done it before, walked. So exactly.
So how anatomy and understanding it applies to that is because cueing somebody to be able to do an exercise is being able to teach them how to move, not just to squeeze a muscle.
Because they won't probably know what squeezing means of the muscle, and they'll think, squeeze it. He keeps saying it to me, but I don't know what he wants me to do, and then they're thinking about it too much, and they're just going to continue doing what they did because that's how they think they move. I'm glad you picked up on that point as well, Jacob, because you'll be amazed at how many people come through the door entry level into the industry here, and they almost like neglect the anatomy side, and they almost like get we've had the question so many times, why do I need to know this? What's the point in doing this? I'm not going to use it when I'm a trainer.
It's so extensive as well, how far you can go with it.
Like
how biomechanics applies to it as well. So
yeah.
I'm very grateful for the fact that I actually had a 7-year-long career in engineering, because that applies in so many ways now that I would have never thought it would have in past.
Yeah,
you know, like when you're looking at
things.
moment arms and forces and things like that.
Yeah.
That's really important.
That's nice. But again, you've had your years, you've done your time in the trenches now. You've said you've been training 9 years, and like doing both bodybuilding and endurance in that as well. So you, as time accumulates, you're going to gain more experience and more of that knowledge that you've already got now, which would be quite extensive. No, but I think there's some great points.
So I'll mention something that I'm working on at the moment that I see as a real challenge for me. So, because some of the things that I've just mentioned, I don't feel like there are tons more that I feel like I could know and I want to know. Because I don't think you can ever stop learning, and you can never know enough. But I just think that some of those things that I've mentioned are not things that are relative to what are most important for me to learn at this moment in time.
Right.
Something that I am learning more about at the moment, which I think a lot of people personal trainers especially, could learn from hearing, is business. So I'm doing a course in marketing at the moment.
Very good. Yeah.
Again, you can be a great personal trainer, you can be doing it for the right reasons, but if you don't know anything about business, then you're going to struggle as well.
You are, especially if you're trying to set up a business.
There's a lot to know about business.
Yeah.
You've got a fantastic business, if you don't mind me saying so myself. But
thank you very much.
You'll know yourself, won't you?
Yeah.
More so than me.
There's
a lot to think about.
It does. I mean, that's one element that we're trying to invest in quite heavily as well, to try and get people to understand. We've got our own members portal now, and they've got like taxes and how to set up with HMRC and stuff on there, because that you'd be amazed that that's not in a core curriculum from an awarding body. It's like you say you go to secondary school and they don't tell you how to pay your taxes or to get a mortgage and financial savings accounts and ISAs and things, and they don't teach you that. But I think that's a very big thing, because you can get caught up too much on the whole training element of it.
And you've got to remember, at the end of the day, you've got you need to earn a wage.
Exactly. Yeah. You've got food to put on the table.
I've fallen into that trap as well myself in the past, of feeling like I just want to give so much to everybody, but I'm scared to say, look, this is what I charge.
Yeah.
Give me money, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if you value yourself and you value the product and the service that you're providing, then you shouldn't be afraid to do that. And you need to be able to sell to people. You do.
You need that element in there, and then the structures behind yourself as well. I mean, it's something that you need to do as a trainer. Look at the different approaches, the marketing, your operational side of things, and your admin, and then just try and think like, right, okay, so SWOT analysis, what am I good at? Well, I'm quite efficient in the training side of things, but I'm not getting many people through door. So what do I need to do? Well, X, Y, and Z could be a good idea. Like even myself now to the day, I invest in loads of courses myself. I'm doing it's a foundation degree level 5 operational management one, because I'm finding myself now to get into a managerial role. So I've been good at doing what I do, but now I've got to teach get other people to do it and manage them. So I need to understand that. Do you know what I mean? And rather than making a shit ton of errors that could be costly to the end user, which is the customer, I need to try and nip that in the bud and understand ways of how to do that first, and kind of like learn about it, so then I don't make those errors and judgments. Everybody that's good at what they do will tell you that they're studying towards something, or looking at something, or reading something. It doesn't necessarily have to be an academic course. It can be, like you've said, invest in a mentor, or just have a chat with somebody, or just have a meeting and brainstorm and stuff. There's always that element that you can do more in a certain area, I believe. That's cool. So if guys are wanting to check you out then, mate, where should they go?
Facebook.
And
so Facebook
first, Jacob Butterfield Fitness.
Jacob Butterfield Fitness.
My website is www.jacobbutterfieldfitness.com. And my Instagram is butterfield.jacob. Those are the three main platforms that you can find a little bit more about me and some of my content and what I do.
Yeah, I would say you've got some good content on there as well. I do really like because you're not just posting an image. You post an image, but you put context behind it. You write about it. You let people understand it. It's almost like an insight into your mind when you're writing it down on there, which it's quite good to read, because there's more information there than what you would see somebody just putting a picture of food on there. Do you know what I mean? So it gives more context, which shows that educational side that you enjoy doing as well, because you like teaching at the end of the day. So that's what you're doing. So guys, hit Jacob up, have a look at his channel, have a look at his feeds, and by all means, if you want to invest in Jacob's services, we talk about mentors and things as well. By all means, I can say firsthand, look at Jacob's stuff, look at how his clients that he's training, and pick his brains. That'd be a good one, because it's always good to look, listen, and learn from experienced people that are doing well. Innit? Yeah.
Thank you, Ben.
No problems. Right. So thanks for listening, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.